Welcome to It Ain't Rocket Science. I'm Adam Balkin. School is back in session and it's back to the books for students across the country. But the classroom is not the only place where budding scientists are making discoveries. We'll take a look at some eye-opening programs from around the country that are focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math, and helping some teens get an early start at a future career in STEM. We'll hear from one movie star turned science advocate and his efforts to make STEM stick. Travel to the San Diego Zoo for a behind-the-scenes look at a day in the life of a zookeeper, and chat with a standout computer programmer who's only 13 years old. All part of Time Warner Cable's Connect a Million Minds initiative to get you interested and involved in science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities in your community. At the State University of New York's Maritime College, students are getting their feet wet in engineering and learning the basics behind buoyancy. Erin Clark is along for the ride.
Maya Perkins and Lisa Rivera are building a boat out of aluminum foil, and they're testing how well it will float when carrying a specific weight.
We put in 115 washers in a small aluminum foil boat that we used just one sheet of it, and it was pretty amazing, and we accomplished something that was just amazing.
The girls are thrilled. The idea is the better this boat floats, the more likely it is that a boat they make out of cardboard will. Stick around, you'll see. It's the final project here at SUNY Maritime College for these high schoolers after a week-long program in science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM.
We really need to focus on STEM in the United States. We've got to teach kids the kinds of things that they're going to need to be productive citizens in the future.
Organizers of the program want to get these young people before they turn their backs on science, math, and engineering, deciding that those subjects are too hard and boring.
STEM can really be fun.
And having fun is exactly what these students are doing. Working on their final project doesn't seem to be boring them at all, yet it requires them to use the skills and knowledge they acquired here at SUNY Maritime. After the week, the students come away with an understanding of what they can accomplish with a STEM education.
I really want to just be in the water, help make the water better, help in just relieve any of those pollutants that are in the water and just make it so much cleaner so people can enjoy it.
And even if the road is difficult, they say they're up for the challenge.
I'm not so good in math, but I'm getting better. I'm not gonna stop because nothing's gonna hold me back from being what I wanna be.
And remember that cardboard boat the girls were making? It floated clear across the SUNY Maritime pool without sinking. For the students, that meant a passing grade. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Erin Clark.
And those students aren't the only ones getting an early start. In New York City, it's easy to pass by a storefront and never think twice about what's inside. But take a closer look, and you'll notice neighborhood tweens are getting creative and building a new perspective on STEM. Rocco Vertuccio has the story.
From the street, it may look like just another shop window, but inside, it is science in action. It's called Storefront Science. Today, these students are learning about Rube Goldberg machines. They're building their own to engineer a chain reaction.
I'm trying to get this into the marble into this can. And then when it gets in, then we'll put something heavy on the end to make it flip over. There are these blocks that we're gonna push, and then a bunch of them fall down. And we're using tape to put in these so that when it falls, the marble will fall and I think go into there. I think that we should make it elevated, and so it'll fall down into here, and gravity will be used to pull it down, and it'll sort of be defying gravity when it comes out of there, which I think is cool.
Storefront Science brings students from all across the New York City area together to get hands-on learning opportunities in all kinds of science.
I believe in science as an interdisciplinary pursuit. So we have a biology area of sorts, but it's really biology, ecology, and chemistry, physics, electricity, energy, ecology, everything.
Dr. Ardizone created Storefront Science as a place for inquisitive students to explore interests at an early age.
They let us do cool stuff while we're learning in a way.
Our use of technology is like a back to basics approach, like technology in the true sense of tools of learning, tools of science. So we don't have them use computers or things like that because I want them to understand that the only way a computer was developed is because people understood physics first and mathematics, and then they had to build up to that.
Experiences like this will help students further fuel their affinity for the sciences as they get older. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Rocco Vertuccio.
To find more hands-on science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities, visit the Connectory at connectamillionminds.com. He's not a real doctor, but for over 10 years he played one on TV, on Match, one of the most successful sitcoms of all time. And while Alan Alda is celebrated for his work on both the small and big screen, his real joy can be found in the pursuit of science and in turn making that science accessible to everyone. Our Tara Wagner has a story.
If you don't know who Alan Alda is, chances are your parents do. He starred in MASH in the 70s and 80s and The West Wing 20 years later. Over his long career, he's won a lot of awards, Emmys, Golden Globes. He was even nominated for an Oscar. But he says the best thing he ever did in front of a camera was host PBS's Scientific American Frontier. This is the Lifetime Achievement Award he recently received from Scientific American magazine, a magazine he's been reading for decades. Over the years, the actor and frustrated scientist got frustrated with the actual scientists he would interview for the show. Since they taught him so much about their research and the world we live in, he wanted to share a bit of his expertise with them. He started the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science at Stony Brook University in Long Island.
I'm interested in getting scientists able to talk to young people about science, but that's just one little part of what I'm interested in. I'm interested in getting scientists able to talk to everybody clearly about science because all our lives depend on that to some extent.
He also started an experiment called Flame Challenge, which invites scientists to explain something, like what a flame is, to thousands of students around the world.
Because when I was 11, I wanted to know what it was and nobody would explain it to me.
The kids then vote on whose explanation is the best. It's a win-win, he says. Scientists learn how to speak simply and clearly, and the kids?
We found that the kids learned so much more about not just the flame, but they realized that they were that much more interested in science.
Igniting that interest is the easy part. The key to the future, he says, lies in keeping that passion burning.
Boy, I think it's really important that the next generation of scientists comes up big and strong and fast because we live in a world of science. We're like fish swimming in an ocean of science.
So grab some goggles and dive in. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Tara Wagner.
Now, with Halloween around the corner, it's that time of year for witches, ghouls, and goblins. So we're turning our attention to a new study program that's designed to take a look at the science behind Hollywood, like things you need to know in case she comes walking through your front door. What to do in the event of an actual zombie outbreak. If only we weren't so eager to run from them or kill them, we could actually learn a fair amount from zombies. And that's just for starters. Texas Instruments is launching alongside the National Academy of Sciences a new series of in-class tools and lessons for teachers called STEM Behind Hollywood.
We took some of the hottest themes from Hollywood and we've created classroom exercises around them.
Zombies is the first to launch and has been created with the help of Harvard Medical School professor Stephen Schlossman, who's studied zombies from Hollywood movies as if they were actually roaming the earth.
If we look at them, we would say, hey, they're not walking well, so there's something wrong with their cerebellum because that provides balance. They're hungry, which is odd because they're sick, and when you're sick, you're usually not hungry. Well, the hypothalamus is involved in telling you that you've eaten enough, and that must be off, or else they'd stop eating. So you can sort of watch their behavior, and from that, discern what regions of the brain aren't working right, and sort of reverse engineer your zombie back to human.
And again, if in the movies we weren't always so bent on destroying zombies, we might instead be able to help them.
The goal of this exercise is to watch the logarithmic growth of a zombie pandemic as it spreads, which isn't that different from any pandemic as it spreads, the ones that are real that are more scary, and then figure out how to interrupt it, how to slow the progression, come up with a vaccine, and eventually cure folks.
We're going to take a quick break, but first, a behind-the-scenes look at the day-to-day life of a zookeeper, how STEM plays a role in taking care of some of the world's most exotic animals. and how one teen's journey into the digital world has evolved into a thriving business. Coming up. To find out more about science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities in your community, visit connectamillionminds.com during the break.